Hey, good afternoon, Rob. Welcome to the Business Growth Accelerator. Appreciate you so much for taking the time to sit down and chat with me and talk pretty much all things marketing and your business.
Yeah, you bet. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
So let's get the audience up to speed and tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and how you do it.
Okay, so I am a marketer by trade. My business is called Marketing AI. We do search engine optimization, social media management, ad creation, content management, content creation. We also run your PPC ad campaigns and basically everything that you need to get exposure in your market. Our whole goal is to help you dominate your market by getting in front of the right client at the right time and in the right place. So that's what we do. I've been doing this for about 10 years now, and we're just seeing some real steady and lately pretty increased growth for the business, which has been super awesome. And I have, seen a lot of changes in the marketplace and how we market and what works and what doesn't work and what's working now that didn't before. And yeah, just a lot changed. There's a lot going on in this space, but it's still fun, and there's still plenty of ways, more than ever, to get your business in front of your uh, customers, the ones that are going to be best fit for your products and your services.
So you've been in the marketing gig for 10 years, you mentioned there. Now, have you
Mhm.
been working, under a firm the whole time, or have you been doing it solo?
So it's been a complete side hustle for a while. And then a couple of years ago, about probably 2.5, 3 years ago, I had someone contact me who I had worked with in the past. And she said, if I help you get more clients, would you teach me kind of the ins and outs, more the technical side of marketing, SEO, PPC management, some of the technical in the weeds, how to use Google to create ads, that kind of stuff. Some very detailed stuff. She's very good at the marketing, understands, the marketing concepts. In fact, she helped her business, or her parents' business. They owned a carpet cleaning company, and she helped them grow from, $250,000 a year to $1 million a year plus in business over a very short time. So I knew she was going to be good for that. But when she said, "Hey, if I help you, get business for your company, would you teach me these things and then we can partner up on this?" I said, "Yeah, go for it." I mean, it's not going to be any problem for me if it grows, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. If she brings in more business, I'm more than happy to work with her on that and help pay her for her time. And it just, but she's just done such a great job that recently I was able to just tell the company that I was working for, also doing their marketing. I remember this conversation. I just said, I need to try to find a way to wean you guys off of me because I'm just not going to be able to stay here at this company. My business is growing so fast. I just can't do both. I need to step away. So for the last little while, it's just been completely on my own ad agency. I don't have a backup job anymore. It's all completely marketing AI, 100%, all in, raring to go.
Nice. So, what was that key pivotal that led you to completely burning the bridges then and telling your current employer that we're done?
That's a fantastic question because there's so much involved in that thought process. I mean, there are probably a lot of people, a lot of your listeners even, who may be in the same situation. Maybe they're full time, or maybe they're not full time in their own business. Maybe they are working for another company and they're trying to decide the same thing. When do I step out? For me, it just came down to the point where I realized that I had so much going on with my own personal business, or with the marketing AI side, my agency, that it just seemed the time that I was sitting at work was time I wasn't working for my customers. And there were things that would crop up during the day, and I'd have to, pull out a laptop on my lunch break and hurry and do a bunch of stuff. And first thing in the morning when I got up, I'd do a bunch of stuff. And then as soon as I got home, I'd be working from, 6 p.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. to catch up on all the stuff I needed. So for me, it just the pivotal point was when I realized I cannot do both things at once. I can't help this company I'm working for and do my own marketing and run my own ad agency. It's just not going to work. But I don't think I realized what I was doing until I said to the people I was working for, I need to have you guys wean yourselves off of me. Like I was doing a lot of, I was what you call like a utility, kind of like utility knife there, a utility employee where you have all the different things. I was running their PPC ads, I was running their social media ads, I was running their website, I was programming their website using, JavaScript, PHP, jQuery, those kinds of things. So I was doing a lot, and so when I talked to my boss, I said, I really need to wean you guys off of me. He said, well, how long do we have? And I said, well, I could give you a month, if that's what you need in order to find the people to replace me and that kind of thing. And he said, it's fine. You got to do what you got to do. And then it was at that moment I realized, I really don't have 4 weeks. I really need to have been done yesterday because of the workload that I had. And so I just said, yeah, I'll give you 2 weeks. And I think it was at that moment that I realized what I was doing. It was only at that point where I realized, yep, I'm going full in. I'm quitting this job. I'm not going to have that backup plan. It's all or nothing from this point on. But it literally got to a point where I knew I could not do both and be able to keep this business running.
So, what do you think then are the essential qualities that every successful entrepreneur should possess before they decide to burn that bridge?
Well, there's a few traits that I've seen as I've also talked to other entrepreneurs and things, and that is number one, stubbornness is seems to be a very common trait of these entrepreneurs that I've talked to, which is just simply, I'm not going to let this fail. I will do everything I possibly need to do. No one is going to tell me that this isn't going to work because it is going to work because I'm going to make sure it works. And, in light of that, you also have to have this passion for what you're doing and this ability to pivot and change directions and do the things that are going to make the business work. So stubbornness is one of them, passion and drive. And, a lot of it too, I've seen a lot of the people I've talked to, these other entrepreneurs, just kind of have this affinity to not obeying the rules, not following
Yeah.
the social. I remember when I told my parents that I was going to be quitting my job and going, just the panic, the pure panic on their face, like, what are you doing? How can because I'm not following these social norms anywhere. My parents are very much go to school, get your degrees, go to work for a company, go, and then retire. But it just doesn't work like that anymore. I mean, it just seems like no matter what business you go to, it's evolving so quickly that in a lot of places you're going to be out of a job in maximum 5 years, and some people are going to be replaced every couple of years to just get new blood in there, new ideas, unless you can keep yourself very flexible and learning the markets and different strategies and different technologies and things like that. So it has really been one of those uh, things that you just have to be flexible, you have to be knowledgeable, you have to be passionate, you have to be stubborn. Those are the traits that you need to be an entrepreneur.
Those are definitely a lot of things that you got to do to work for yourself. It's almost more than if you were to just sacrifice yourself and work for somebody else. You don't have to think as much, though, right?
Right.
Uh,
Yep.
to manage all that, then how do you stay up to date with all the industry trends?
So, there are a lot of good newsletters out there that talk about the way that people are marketing and how things are changing. There's a smart brief that I look for. Like if you go online, you just look for, I think it's smart brief. I can't remember the letters in front of it, like AAF smart brief or something like that. But there's a bunch of this smart brief kind of general company has. They'll have marketing for social media marketing, marketing for search engine marketing, and they have different newsletters for different types of things. So you can go in and you can apply to those and you can look at those, which are very, very helpful. And then the other thing that a lot of what I do and also like my employees do is we'll pay for classes on Udemy and some of those other places where you can buy courses. Like right now, the girl that I'm one of my employees, she's working on a TikTok course, learning more about how to use TikTok effectively. and also taking a course on PPC, meaning the Google Ads
Mhm.
and how to run those properly. And so she's taking a course on that. She's getting certified in that. And then just it comes down to just watching that market, signing up for some good newsletters that are watching those trends. Those are the ways that I would recommend that you really try to stay in touch with what's going on.
Yeah, are definitely the hidden secret in gold that's
Hmm.
out there for you. I mean, I didn't know about newsletters until I started, down that when it comes
Hmm.
to marketing, especially for small who can't spend like the big dogs in the area. So the No BS newsletter from Dan Kennedy has been a godsend to
Oh yeah.
help other uh, businesses as well. So
Yeah,
tons
I
of
think anything as far as like Dan Kennedy, Russell Brunson, even, some of the coaches like Tony Robbins have gotten into their business side. There's Grant Cardone. He has a lot of, information. Um, you know, Obviously, you want to try to find some good places that it's not just all about trying to sell you something, which is why I really like the stuff that Russell Brunson comes out with because
mhm.
he's trying to sell his platform, obviously, but that's all he's trying to sell. So the platform I'm talking about, you're very aware of, is the ClickFunnels platform where you can
Mhm.
build websites and sales funnels very quickly. Um, but he's not afraid to share all the knowledge in the world about marketing. He just wants you to use his platform to
To
build the
do it on.
funnels.
Yep.
So there's
Mhm.
some fantastic information that he shares with you, just some awesome, amazing things. And I was just looking online and trying to get this that smart brief that I was talking about. But yeah, it's just called Smart Brief, and they have newsletters on everything from aerospace to Facebook. It's pretty remarkable. So you can go check them out.
We'll definitely leave the resources in the description below for this episode. So, how do you
Perfect.
define success in business, and how has your definition evolved over time?
So it for me, success in business means that you have happy customers. That's the purest definition of success that I can find, especially when it comes to business. I mean, it's different in life. I mean, in life, the success is you want to be happy and fulfilled and feel like you're contributing to society. And, those are some of the aspects, of success in life,
Mhm.
continually reaching goals, things like that. But for business, happy customers. If you are running your business in a way that you have happy customers and they are not only happy with you as a company, but happy with the individuals working for the company. If you can maintain a business that just loves you and what you're doing, you could just go on forever and ever. I've had clients who have been with me for 10 years doing their marketing. Actually, I think it's been more like 12, 13 years now, where I've been doing their marketing and they're still with me 10 years later, just because I communicate with them very well, let them know what we're working on, why we're working, what isn't working. I mean, sometimes things don't work and they want to know that that didn't work.
Mhm.
So, it's not always trying to just be roses and rainbows and unicorns and everything's perfect, but just communicating with the customers so they know what you're up to, what you're doing, how much you're working for them and how much you want them to be successful. If you can portray that to them, then they are going to it's going to be a successful business. Keep those customers happy and they will refer other customers to you. That's the key.
That definitely is the key because happy customers are long-term customers. So, how many employees do you currently have right now?
So right now I have like three different employees working for me under me and my uh, partner.
Hmm.
But then we also have another agency that we can white label through. So if we need to, we can add on whatever other workloads that people have if our team can't handle it in-house. And that company has, I don't know, like 20 or 30 employees, So
Hmm.
really, right now for me, it's kind of a lower amount of employees on our side who are managing multiple accounts.
Hmm.
So we try to build the system in a way where you don't need a ton of manpower to keep these things going and keep things efficient, because just the way we've set it up, we try to do things very, very efficiently. But they're still getting Facebook posts every week. The search engine marketing is done. We check the PPC ads. So a little bit lower on this side, but we can tap into another agency for white label stuff if we need to.
How are you building the culture then for your organization? Be able to attract uh, more employees as business continues to grow.
Well, I've always had really two things that I focus on when it comes to my employees: motivation or willingness, and training. So if you have an employee that's not trained well, they can be perfectly willing, 100% willing, all in. They want to do the best they can for you. They like the company. They want to do well, but they don't have the training. They just can't do it. Sadly, you have some people that have all the ability in the world. They just don't want to, right? They just, maybe they don't like the company. Maybe they don't like you. Um, Maybe they're bored with what they're doing. So really, it comes down to, again, motivation and training. So on the motivation side, I really try to look at what are their goals and ambitions in life. And if I can figure out what they want to get out of life, what their goals and ambitions are. Maybe it's to own a boat, maybe it's to buy their first house, maybe it's to travel. I don't know. Whatever it is that they want, then I do everything I can to make sure that the business can help them get that. So if they, for example, they're working towards a new boat. Okay, great. Well, let's have you working on the aspects of social media marketing that you're working on, but also I will let them go out and bring on new clients, and they can make $1,000 to maybe $2,000-3,000 um, for each new client that they bring on board over like a 6-month period. So I try to offer ways that people can grow, make more money, be motivated. The other thing I try to do is give them more autonomy. So once they have the training and I know they can handle certain things, then I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that they have the power to make the decisions. I think very few people, well, you have to watch this. Some people just want to be told what to do.
Mhm.
Just tell me what to do and I'll do it. I don't want to think. Other people really want the autonomy to go out there and just, you tell me what you need, tell me what the end result is, and I'll make sure that you get that. And then you let them use their skills to get that done. Communication is vital, 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 both on the communication between your employees, but also to your clients. So I try to keep the communication very, very open. Tell me exactly what you want. Tell me what you need. Tell me what's working. Tell me what isn't working. If there's certain software and tools that you need, let me know what those are, right? If we have a software or system in place that it's not doing what you want, then let me know what that is so that we can make that adjustment. Take care of the employees, they'll take care of your customers.
That's definitely great advice there. So I know over the past 10 years, it hasn't been roses and rainbows for
Hmm.
your business. Can you share an example of a mistake that you made in your early part of your career and what you learned from it?
Yeah, I think one of the mistakes that, and this is a trick question, because one of the mistakes that you can do is you can overpromise something. If you overpromise and underdeliver, you're gonna lose a client and just kind of upset them. But at the same time, you can't be so reserved and unwilling to take a risk that you're not going to grow, if that
Mhm.
makes sense.
It does. Yeah.
So, I mean, there have been times where I promised, oh, I'll do this and this and this and this, and it's only going to be, $1,500 a month. And then you realize, man, I can't do everything that I told them I was going to do for that price that I gave them. And then it's just a struggle. Either you're losing money every month, or you're just having to work way harder than you expected to for that. And then you have to try to adjust and communicate and make some changes and charge more, something like that. So I think what I've learned in that case is you really want to make sure that you realize how valuable your time is and how much fulfillment really is. Know your numbers. I mean, if you feel like you can do a job for $1,500 a month, you should probably charge $3,000. If you think that you can build a website for $5,000, you should probably charge 10, because it's always going to be more expensive than you thought it was going to be. But it comes down to being to having enough faith in yourself, enough confidence in yourself that you know that you can make it happen. You just need to make sure that the money's there to cover your costs, employee costs, and the customer's going to be happy with what they do. So, like I say, I also don't want people to say, well, I'm not sure I can do that. So, well, you want this on a website? I don't know if I'm the right guy. Maybe you should try this other person, right? You can't do that. I mean, if you're trying to sell a website for $5,000, $10,000, and they say, hey, I want this done, you go, okay, great. Yeah, we'll get that done. You just find a way to do it. If you have to go on Upwork or something and pay a programmer to do a certain something that you don't know how to do, pay them to do it, which is why you also have to charge double what you think it's going to cost you to have that in reserve to do it. So don't be afraid to take risks. Don't be afraid to get out there and just say, yeah, if you want that, I can get it done, and then figure it out later. But also just understand that the things that you're saying you're going to do, they take time, they take effort, they take energy, they take money. So make sure you're charging enough. And I've been in cases, where I just have not charged enough, and it's just turned into, well, either I can't promise what I said I would, or I'm completely unhappy because I'm not making enough to cover what the time I'm putting into it.
Yeah, I've definitely made those mistakes as well, and hopefully I'm not in one of them in the middle of one of those mistakes with the website
Yeah.
that I'm getting built out.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll see the end
You'll
here.
figure it out.
Yeah.
You'll figure it out. You always do.
So how are you balancing and professional life? Do you have any tips to those that are aspiring to you know to do that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you have to schedule your time off. You have to schedule, like for me, for example, I try to get to the gym at least 3 times a week, if not 4 to 5 times a week. And so I just know that I have a hard stop at 1 p.m. to 2:30. I'm going to go to lunch and I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to work out and try to get in shape. And then I know I'm not going to work any later than 8 o'clock p.m. After 8 o'clock p.m., I might be willing to take a call from my partner, obviously, and work with her on some things. But after 8:30 p.m., I'm done. I'm not looking at work. It's going to have to wait till tomorrow. And so many people get in this situation, especially when they're running their own business. They think, oh, it has to be done now. It has to be done now. If I don't get it done right now, it's never going to get done. And then you end up working till midnight, 1 in the morning. And you've got to learn how to say, it's 8:30 at night. I've been working on my business since 7 o'clock this morning. I'm done. I don't care what needs to be done. I'll do it tomorrow. Now, that being said, if you promise someone something today and you haven't gotten to it yet, if you can do it, do it.
Yeah,
But there
definitely.
have been times when I have reached out to a customer and said, hey, I know I was going to try to get this today. They're just super, super busy. I will do it first thing in the morning. Is that okay? You know what? 9 times out of 10, they're going to back say, oh, yeah, no problem. Don't worry about it. So you've got to make time for yourself. You've got to make time for your family. You've got to put some hard stops in there and just say 8 o'clock, I'm done. 1 o'clock to 2:30, I'm going to the gym. The rest of the time, man, all in, all business, all the time, work your butt off.
There you go. So you've helped a lot of businesses over the past 10 years kind of grow into a point. What are some of the misconceptions that you've found about helping businesses grow and scale?
I think a lot of the misconceptions are that marketers don't do anything, that they charge you a buttload of money, but they don't actually do anything. That's kind of the biggest one that I run into. But the reason that that doesn't happen to me is because I communicate all the time with my clients. And a matter of fact, I just was down in Salt Lake City, Utah. I live up in Logan up north. We were down there filming and doing getting some photo and film for a dentist office that we just built this website for. And my business partner actually flew in from California to, help in that. Now, he didn't know that she was coming because I didn't even know she was going to show up because, family life and kids and catching the flight, next day to get out. It just may not have happened. But he told me, he said, I appreciate you being down here. You guys are the most hands-on company I've ever worked with. I mean, you're always communicating, you're always telling me what I need. And And then I said, well, and Kristen's flying in today too. She should be here in just a little while. He's just like grinned, like, what the heck? I've never seen this. And he's used to working with these other companies. And I won't mention their name because I don't want to get in trouble, but they're pretty crappy company. I mean, I'll tell you, there was a website. This is the epitome of why people don't like marketers. They built this website. Each page had maybe 2 or 3 lines of text on it. And then on the page, there was a video that you could watch. But it's like you have this sliver of the window, and the video takes up like this much. So you
Hmm.
saw a little sliver of the top of the video, but you didn't even know it was a video, and there was no way to really click and play the video. And that was like on every page. And so their content sucked, their marketing sucked. They were paying $600 a month to these guys to run this website.
Hmm.
We called as one of the first things we called when we picked up this client is said, well, maybe we can work with them to get them to do some of the things, and they can keep paying the $5.99, keep the website up, and this company can also help with some of the social media marketing and content and things like that. So we called them up and said, what are you guys doing every month for your, content creation, social media marketing and things, and those things that you need to do for your client? And they said, oh, we don't really do anything unless they tell us to. So, if the client calls us and says, hey, can you add this article to the page, then we'll do that. Or if they say, hey, can you get in there and put a Facebook post up, then we'll do that. But if they want us to actually do like Facebook posts every week for them, well, they have to sign this other document saying that we can do that for them on their behalf. And then who knows what kind of crappy content you're gonna get from them.
Hmm.
So we ended up just shutting that old site down completely, building a brand new site for them. And he just completely got rid of that money. And he's using that money that he was spending on that, crappy marketing company to pay for more ads for the stuff that we're doing. And so, yeah, there are companies out there who will definitely take advantage of you. They will just take your money and not do anything. We are different in the fact that not only we are always working for our customers, like every day we're trying to do something for our clients, but we're also reporting that back to the clients almost daily. Hey, just wanted you to know, John, that's the owner of this dental company, we did this today and that should help you with this, right? You do those kind of things for your customers and they just love you to death. They'll stay with you forever. But if you have a marketing agency that's not communicating with you and you don't know what they're doing, drop them and give me a call or give you a call. But,
Yeah.
if you don't know what they're doing, they're probably not doing anything.
Hmm. Well, that kind of leads into the next topic here with regards to data and analytics. It's
Hmm.
definitely needed for all aspects of your marketing. How can businesses leverage that data and analytics that you report to help them grow?
Well, a lot of times, this is kind of a misconception too, is that most of my clients, I don't send them analytics. I don't really even tell them how many visits they had, how many PPC clicks they had. They don't really care. What they want to know is how many calls they had, how many form fills they had, how many people reached out to their business. So when I send a report, I send like to some of my clients, they went a little more often, but at least when I send, basically what I'll do is I'll send the invoice and I'll say, hey, you spent this much money in ads, this much money on the management fee. So this is how much it was total, but we generated 379 calls. These are new calls that have never been called in before. And we use a tracking software called Call Tracking Metrics
Hmm.
that tracks the calls that come in. And so we know, like this last month, they had over 1,000 calls just every day. They had over 1,000 calls that month, but only 379 of those calls were what they call unique calls. They had never called in before. So we know that they were found through social media, found through Google Ad, found through organic search, through SEO. So what I'll do is I'll just send the report and I'll say you had 379 calls. It cost you $6,000. And so you paid about $15 per call, new caller that had never called in before to talk to you guys about your, pest control or whatever. Now I can send in reports that have, this is how much traffic you got, this is how many clicks you did, this is, all that kind of stuff. And they just look at it and go, okay, what does that mean? I don't know what that means. Very rarely do we have a customer that says, well, I say really kind of facetiously. You're not going to get a customer that says, okay, I don't care how many calls you're getting or how many people are contacting us through our, submit an application or book an appointment for them. I just want to know how many visitors are we having. They don't care. So we do have that data available and we can submit to them, but I like to report on how many calls, how many lead gen forms, how many booked appointments are they getting for the dollar that they're spending.
Gotcha. Yeah, those are definitely key metrics that aren't vanity metrics, because all the
Hmm.
clicks and the visits are definitely vanity. And
Hmm.
if you have an agency that are pushing that in front of you more than they're pushing the actual conversion, then definitely need to have a come to
Yep.
Jesus meeting with them and figure out how to get more calls and form fills to your
Yeah,
business.
absolutely. Absolutely.
So marketing is only one small sliver of the entire business world, I guess you can put it that
Hmm.
way. A lot of it has to do with the customer experience when it comes to growing a business. So, can you shed a little bit of light on the role of customer experiences that you've had to deal with and the clients that you had, to where they're spending the money on marketing, but they're not seeing any.
I lost you there for a second. Sorry, you were cut out there for a minute.
Oh, no, no worries at all. So I was getting into um, that marketing is only a small piece of the pie when it comes to running and
Hmm.
growing a business. A
Yep.
lot of it has to do with the overall customer experience once the marketing has grabbed the attention. Can you shed a bit of light on the role of customer experience in business growth that you've had to deal with with any of your clients whose marketing was working, but they're not getting the sales results that they were expecting?
Yeah, I mean, I had one experience where we were running these PPC ad campaigns, and we had all these calls coming in, and they were saying, "Well, we're just not getting any sales." And I said, "Well, let's go listen to some of those calls, and let's see if we can listen to the salespeople." And because that's another thing I love about Call Trick and Metrics, it records every call. So you have the calls coming to your salespeople, and you can talk to them. I mean, it really comes down to two things: the clicks and the contact and the sale. Like once you have their information, then you have to make the sale.
Hmm.
Like if the customer's interested and you haven't sold it, there's probably something wrong with the sale. Or you marketed it in a way that says we can do this, but what you said you could do, you can't do. And that would be, on the side of the marketing. Otherwise, it comes down to sales. And the sales, it really comes down to just a couple things, and that is, do they have the money, or do they have the belief that they're going to get a return on their investment for the money? And if they do, and they like your company and they like the salesperson, those are the three things that they need. They need to like the salesperson, they need to like your company, and they need to like your offering and how much it is. Like they need to like your solution to their problem has to be cost effective. If they like the solution, the company, and the person they're talking to on the phone, that's the trifecta you need to win it. So we went back through and we started listening to these calls, and probably 60% of them were just going to voicemail. No one was answering the phone. So, you see problems like that. There are other times where we've listened to calls, and I listen to calls with them if it's not working on the sales side. And, we can see that the salesperson just didn't really have the answers, didn't really care, sounded like they were indifferent to whether they called in or not, that kind of thing. I mean, if you don't have good salespeople, it doesn't matter how good your marketing is. Obviously, you're not going to sell.
Hmm.
Now, on the marketing side of things, sure, there have been times where we've run campaigns and they've just dropped dead, like nothing happened, right? So for whatever reason that is, that's where on the marketing side we have to look at it and say, as we go back to Russell Brunson's theory, when it comes to marketing stuff, it's either the hook or the story or the what's the other
The
one,
offer.
Brandon? The
It's the
offer, right?
offer. Yep.
It's either the hook, story, or offer. So this is the way I look at it. If we put an ad up there and they click on the ad, then the ad was good. They clicked on the Facebook ad, they clicked on the Google ad. If they clicked it, it means they were interested. The ad did what it was supposed to do. Next thing is it goes to the web page. On that web page, you have your story and you have your offer. If it's not converting, then it's either the story you're telling is just not jiving with them and they're not able to relate to that, or the offer, which is the problem to their solution, just they don't see it working for them, or they don't like it, or it costs too much, whatever those kinds of things are. So our job as a marketing team would also be to look at the story and the offer and make sure that those are good as well.
So a lot has taken up in the past 3 or so years, especially with that crazy event that happened back in 2020 when the whole world shut down.
Hmm.
Caused a lot of people to pivot, especially going towards a more digital first business approach. So, what emerging trends that are coming out now are you most excited about?
Well, I'm mostly excited and deathly afraid of TikTok. You hear like both sides of that, right?
Yeah.
They're getting spied on and they know everything. And, at the same time, TikTok is just been huge for businesses right now. I mean, there are so many people making so much money, using like the TikTok ads and getting out there in front of people. But at the same time, some people are just like, no, I do not want anything to do with TikTok. Don't even start my, account. I don't want to be involved in that. So that's an interesting conundrum that we're kind of facing right now. And, I can't really speak to whether it's good or isn't good or, whatever. All I know is that it seems to work for a lot of people, even for like dentists in an area. You show them like a cool teeth whitening app and how you get a social influencer on there. That's the other big thing that's changed is social
Hmm.
influencer become more vital than ever. You build yourself a good audience or you find someone that has a good audience and if people like them and they recommend MVP Dental, for example, then MVP Dental is going to be where they go for their teeth whitening because influencer so and so said it was the best. So TikTok, influencers, working with influencers, media, making sure that your media, your video, your graphics are all super well done, super professional, drive home the good point. So those are the things that are, and Instagram has turned out to just really started to be way more of a driver of traffic and sales than what we thought it, may have been. I am curious to see what's going to happen with the new Instagram Threads. I haven't really played around with that a lot, but that's another emerging technology that's really just trying to, I think, compete with Twitter.
Hmm.
So we'll see what happens there. But hey, if that grows really quickly and we can start advertising there, you can be first to market. Then you can make a lot of money by being one of the first companies on Instagram Threads to market there because no one else is, and you're getting all the juice.
So, yeah, I mean, speaking of those two platforms, Threads and Twitter, now known as X. Um, what do you think about Elon's take of that company completely and getting rid of an institution, so to speak, that's been around since what, in eight? I think is when Twitter
Hmm.
first launched. I mean,
Hmm.
what are your thoughts on that?
I am really curious. I don't know why necessarily he went to X. I logged into or tried to go in and log into my X account, and I can't remember my password. I literally got to the point where I wasn't using Twitter at all because I wasn't getting anything from it. I mean, in my opinion, no one was paying attention to it. To me, it felt like, and when Elon came in and said, "Hey, it's all bots and it's all just this, other stuff," every once in a while I'd find someone say, "Yeah, I use Twitter," but I think I did a little poll on Facebook. It said, "How many of you actually use Twitter?" And it was like nobody. There was a couple of people. So I feel like Elon has come in with the idea of let's try to make this company more transparent and give people the voice that they want. Obviously, you need to monitor, some activity. You can't go stupid crazy. We don't want to see people just um, posting up a bunch of porn and stuff. I think that we don't. We want a community where we can really educate one another, talk to one another, comment, share, and I think that's what Elon is really trying to do there, is trying to build that. But with Instagram threads, with Facebook being able to communicate there, and you know, I think he's got a tough road ahead of him, to be honest. I just don't know how he's gonna make that thing outshine everything else that's out there. So we'll see. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's definitely a journey to watch. I mean, we're now
Mhm,
living in the history and future of social media all at the same time.
mhm,
It's definitely a case study to pay attention to and to make notes on, to watch how Elon, one, acquired the company, and two, cleaned house of the,
mhm.
cleaned house, and then did what he
Seems like
needed to do.
70% or something like that
Yeah, I
crazy
think
amount.
80%. And the interview that he did
Yeah.
about it was pretty savage. So
Yeah, it
um,
was. Yeah.
uh, it's definitely an interesting take, and a way to document, future entrepreneurs in the tech world, at least, on how to, acquire a company, starting it for one, two, trimming the fat and getting rid of the crap, and three, make it make it your own. You know,
Mhm,
for some reason, Elon loves X for whatever it is. He has the Tesla Model
mhm,
X. X
mhm.
is everywhere in Elon's brand. So why not make a social media
Sure.
platform with that? So when it comes to challenges, whether you're starting, buying, or inheriting a business, what are some of the things that people can do to prepare themselves for those challenges and opportunities that will come along in the future?
Build yourself a good network. I mean, you really need to have a network of people. Like if you have an area in marketing, for example, or even if you go to like a BNI group kind of thing, you know what I mean? And I don't know if you know Business Network International, but they meet,
Hmm.
throughout the country, and you can go and you can meet people who do all kinds of things. They only allow a specific. So if you're a business and I do SEO, I can't go in there and join and do SEO and social media. It's like one or the other, right? So what that means is when I go to BNI, there's an SEO expert, there's a social media expert, there's an analytics expert, there's a PPC expert, blah, blah, blah. I mean, just there's so many people there. But then also in your own network, you have so many people that you have access to that you could use and talk to. So the more people you have around you that are knowledgeable in their field, the less you have to worry about the weaknesses that you have because someone out there is going to have the answer and be able to help you. Now, again, they may charge you, they may not. Sometimes it's just getting advice, but surrounding yourself with really good people who are experts in a lot of different fields that may encompass the things that you're doing is the best way to compensate for your own weaknesses and overcome the challenges that you're going to face. And the other thing is uh, just pure faith and hope and a positive mindset. I am just an optimist like no other. I mean, I try to look at every situation that happens to me and I try to find the good in it to a fault probably. But that is one of those things too that I've seen with entrepreneurs and business owners is they just try to be as super optimistic as possible. Pessimists just don't seem to make it in business because they just don't even get off the ground. This is never going to work. It's never going to happen. Blah blah blah. That doesn't work. That looks like crap. So eternal optimism and building a good network of people around you, those will overcome pretty much any challenge because you got resources and you got your faith to keep going.
That's some great advice there. Uh, so we've covered a lot, in these past 40 minutes or so. So before we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to share with the listeners about yourself, your business, and what needs to be done to build that solid foundation uh, to grow?
Sure. I think the most important thing is you just really need to get a good marketing campaign in place. So many businesses, when they start to struggle, the first thing they want to cut is their marketing budget. And that's a mistake because when you cut your marketing budget, you're basically trying to fish without any lures in the water. So you're saying, well, these fish aren't biting, so I'm going to take all my bait out of the water. I'm going to take all my hooks out. Well, where are you going to put them? How are you going to go catch the fish if you don't use any bait? So it's not a matter of just cutting your marketing. It's a matter of, okay, figuring out what marketing is going to work and making changes within that marketing strategy or maybe targeting people better, maybe joining specific groups, or maybe using your funds in a way that's going to reach more people. But just cutting the marketing budget completely and saying, well, let's just cut our marketing until we recover, it's just a death spiral. You're not ever going to recover when you cut your marketing, because that's the way you're getting new blood in. So even if it means going back to one of the things that I would recommend is going back to your list of clients and emailing them a special or something to try to get them re-engaged with you. Something like that could be beneficial. But don't just cut the marketing budget and then assume that everything is going to work out. It's just a downward spiral. So that would be my advice. Get a good marketing plan in place. And if it's not working, find ways to make it work, but don't just start getting rid of it, because where are you going to get your new clients from?
Makes total sense. Yeah, never made any sense to me at all. The first thing that people cut is the marketing instead of fixing whatever internal processes that's making the marketing not work. And it's usually the
Hmm.
sales is what makes the
Hmm.
marketing not work.
Yep.
So where can our listeners and viewers connect with you to learn more about yourself, your business, and the work that you do?
Right. So we have a website called marketingai.com. Pretty cool marketing. When I first got that domain, it was really just it was supposed to be all inclusive marketing. So I was either going to do AI marketing or marketing AI. I just thought marketing AI sounded better, so I bought marketingai.com. Now I'm getting offers all the time for that domain name because marketing AI is this big thing now,
Yeah,
which is pretty cool. But yeah, if you just go to marketingai.com, there's a web form on there, there's phone numbers on there. You're welcome to get in touch with me. I'd be more than happy to meet with anyone who wants to just talk about their marketing, look for things that they could do better. I don't charge for that. I can do up to an hour free marketing consultation where we just look at what they're doing in their marketing and find out what's working, what isn't working, why it's not working. I've been on several of these where people have just said, wow, I just had no idea. I didn't even think about that. Why didn't I think about that? I should have done that. Why am I not doing that? So if people will just reach out to me either on through Marketing AI, or they can find us in Marketing AI is on Facebook, or we also have a group called Titans of Business, a Facebook group. They're welcome to join me there. So those are the best ways to get in touch with me.
excellent. Definitely have all those resources in the show notes below. And finally, what is the one key takeaway you'd like the audience to remember from this conversation?
Don't give up. Be passionate about what you do. Continue working. Continue driving. You can make this work. You just need to get the right people around you and get people to help you. Don't be afraid to reach out, like me or you, Brandon, and
Mhm.
say, I need help. My business isn't working. My marketing's not working. What do I need to do? Not everyone out there is just trying to take advantage of you. Yes, there are some that aren't, but I can assure you, Brad and I are not. We will do everything we can to help you. So stay passionate, keep the faith, keep working hard, get good people around you, and ask for help if you need it.
That's some definite excellent advice there. Rob, again, I appreciate you coming on to the Business Growth Accelerator. Again, for any of the resources mentioned in this episode, they will be listed down in the show notes below. And from myself and Rob, here is to your success. Take care.
See you later.